And I ended up doing Mr. Jones as Adam Duritz. I walked out there. Nick Rose, who is like a lead guy in the band, is on the mic, and he says, "Yeah, everybody, we have a special guest here all the way from Baltimore, Adam Duritz." And then I walked out and I was dressed like him. I had the dreads and like the leather jacket. We thought, yeah, people would get a kick out of this, and they, I can do a pretty good impression. But we actually had people raising their phones, filming it, and tweeting that Adam Duritz showed up to the Phoenix.
Right.
Welcome to This Broken Mixtape, the podcast that rewinds and presses play on the soundtrack to your life. I'm Jeff Wu.
And I'm Justin Lee.
Rodrigo Fernandez-Stoll is a man of many hats, comedian, actor, singer, and a self-professed filterhead. He currently stars in Kim's Convenience and Northern Rescue and is releasing his first comedy music album this spring. We sat down with Rodrigo to talk about his obsession with Venom, how he's convinced several people he is Adam Duritz of the Counting Crows, and that time in high school when he stayed up all night burning mix CDs for a crush. Also, be sure to tune in to the end of the episode where we pay homage to The Cure's Disintegration in honor of its 30th anniversary.
This week, our special guest is Rodrigo Fernandez-Stoll. Welcome to the show, Rodrigo.
Thank you for having me. This is so cool. This is the nicest place ever. I love it.
We're recording out of Jeff's condo. Well,
it's like a loft apartment, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like the apartment that Gosling has in Blade Runner.
Oh,
shit. It's really cool, man. Great lighting.
High praise.
I can make the lights go red and purple.
Do it.
Yeah.
Actually,
I turned all the Alexas off just so it's not going to happen.
Cool.
Well, I mean, speaking of Blade Runner, so my sort of introduction to you was last Monday. I was at practice. Shout out to the practice guys at the Drake. And for those of you who don't know, practice is this impromptu jam session, a live jam session, kind of focusing more on hip hop, R&B, funk, soul. And you get on the mic. And, you're like this unassuming dude, kind of have like, a beard. And I don't think anyone's expecting anything. And I don't mean that like, as a slight against you.
No,
but
it's okay. You can say it. It was like a really hungover Danny DeVito showed up and went on the mic. And everyone was like, "Who is this Belushi looking guy?" I get that a lot, but that's kind of cool. I like that.
Yeah, and you get on the mic and your vocals are great, but then what you're singing about is like no one at practice has ever done that, at least to my knowledge. It's usually like these really earnest ad libs, usually revolving around love, relationships, whatever. And I remember you saying you were talking about, first of all, the lights. Because it's kind of got these crazy laser type lights at the Drake.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with lasers.
Absolutely, who isn't? And you said, "Oh, kind of reminds me of Blade Runner." And then you're like, "Have you ever seen Demolition Man?" It's a pretty good movie.
I have an obsession with movies about the future.
Yeah,
but especially these movies of very stylistic. I feel Demolition Man was kind of this like really cool style to it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I just felt like. I mean, I'm a comedian first and foremost, so I kind of just aim for the funny,
right?
Before anything else. But also, it kind of felt like that, where I was like, everyone's going to come up here and sing something really cool and about love, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but I was like, that's totally not what I can aim to do well. And I was like, okay, just go up there and feel it out and improvise something that people can laugh at. But also I love singing, so I try to do it in this, humorous way.
Right, and that's what kind of threw me off, because I'm like, this guy must be like an actual singer. And then I find out that you're a comedian and an actor. That kind of, I was amazed by that, the fact that you can do all those things. Just because like I feel like many of us can only do one thing okay, if not really well.
All right,
yeah.
Thanks.
But looking through your IMDb, I mean, you've done a lot of stuff. You're a regular on Kim's Convenience. You're also on the Baroness.
Big shout out to the Kim's fam. I love that show.
Yeah, great show.
I love them.
The Baroness Vaughn sketch show,
Big shout out to the Baronesses. I love them. I love that show.
The now defunct Beauty and the Beast series.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I did one episode of that show, and I guess it's not on anymore.
It isn't, but it lasted for what, 1 season, 2 seasons?
I think it lasted about for 2 seasons, but that was a fun one. I met some really fun people on
Vanessa
that one.
Hudgens is in the title role, right?
Oh, really?
I think so, isn't she?
Vanessa Hudgens?
Or who else?
I don't think so on Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, no, it's Kristen Cruick. Right?
Yeah, I think so. I never really got involved
Okay.
with that show that much, but I played a hacker of some sort. I know that.
Okay.
Which was pretty fun. I got to wear,
I could see you as a hacker.
Cool hoodie. That's as far as it goes with playing a hacker. They give you a hoodie, and then they're like, okay, cool.
That's pretty much all you need.
Yeah.
Is a hoodie. And then of course, the Oscar-nominated Room with Brie Larson.
You know what? I gotta be honest with that one. That one, I did get a part in that one. I played a reporter, but in the final cut, they cut me out of the film.
They did?
They cut me out of the film. You see the back of my head in the scene, and all my lines that I think I had like 3 or 4 lines of actually reporting lines of asking questions right before they run into the house. And I got cut out of the movie. You just see the back of my head. But I found out when I was in the theater watching the movie with my girlfriend, which she's an actor too, Gwen Phillips. So she sat there with me and was like, we were both laughing about it. But I didn't realize that my name is 7th on the credits at the end of the film. And I thought, oh, I guess there's some deal where they have to show like a Canadian actor name at the end of like some sort of production that's filmed in the city. Right. Anyway, so I still get that though. People are like, "Oh, you were in Room," or I'm like, "No, I wasn't." But I have to correct people when they say that. So
maybe it's on the like deleted scenes.
Probably, I don't know. I had like a shaved head at the time and everything. I was wearing like it kind of looked like a beret. So maybe they looked at me and they were like, we don't like that guy's face. So,
but the one credit that really I was curious about, you're in this movie, which I saw the trailer today. It's called Killer High.
Oh, yeah. Big shout out to Killer High.
Yeah. It's like a teen slasher film, kind of, right? And you're credited as the DJ. And then I watched the trailer and you show up at least 3 times in the trailer.
Oh, I'm in there. I'm in that. Jem who directed it, she is the coolest person ever. And also, I fought very hard to wear a wig in the film, but she said no, and I respect her for that.
Why did you want to wear? And what did this wig look like?
Oh, it was a pretty bad wig. It was this long-haired wig, kind of make me look like some sort of like Metallica guitarist. But no, I think I wore it for the first couple of days, trying to get them to approve it. And then she came over, and Jem came over, and would be like, "Yeah, I don't know. I'll message the producers and see whether or not they like it or whatever." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Let me know what they think." And then finally, at one point, they were like, "Okay, we're ready for your scene," And I walked in, and I still had the wig on, and she looks over at me, and she's like, "I don't know about the wig." I'm like, "Well, let's wait until the last final second until approval." And then I went over, sat down in Video Village or whatever, in like the actor seats. And I'm sitting there, and then I think it was like the third AD that walked over to me and just did one of those like holding their headphone, and they're like, "Yep, okay, yeah, he's right here. Okay, yeah, everybody wants you to take off the wig." And that's when I was like, "Yep," and I took it off, then walked over to where I had to go on set, and Jem just looked at me, and I'm like, "No to the wig," right? She looked at me and she goes, "Yep," and then we hit it off, and it was great. Really, really cool time. But I was supposed to be there for like 1 day. And then it turned out where they were like, "No, let's keep you here the whole week." It was a really fun shoot, and they were a blast. They were super cool. But everybody, the whole cast, they were great. Really
also,
cool.
You played a DJ before, and I mean, this was just a small little YouTube video that you put together, but you did a spoof of the
Boiler Room.
The Boiler Room sessions, and you had
I love how you bring that up. That's awesome.
Well, I mean, it kind of resonates with me because I've seen a lot of Boiler Room sessions.
Okay, cool.
And what is the name of your fictional DJ?
Nicolas Vomitando.
Right.
And
you know, if you guys haven't seen this video, you should watch it. We'll put it up on our site. But it's basically you playing this fictional DJ, playing in some club in Oslo. And throughout the 1 minute clip, you're just vomiting small mini marshmallows
onto the
controller.
Onto the controller, which I found that was way funnier for me.
And, it was absolutely the right choice. If it was just on the table, it would have gone a laugh. But on the controller, I mean, just picturing anybody being right in front of the DJ and watching that happen.
Oh, that's awesome that you bring that up. That's so cool. Thanks, man. Yeah, that's like one of my favorite videos ever.
Yeah, and you know what? It actually resonates with me because that kind of happened to me. Not with marshmallows, but I DJ in my spare time. And I was playing, I'm not going to say where it was, but I was playing this one venue along the Dundas West Strip. And I don't know why, but maybe I drank too much. I don't know what the deal is, but I felt sick. Didn't have time to go to the washroom, and I turned around and just threw up a little bit on the ground. And I was like, what the fuck am I going to do with this? Like, I felt really bad for one. No one saw it. But I'm like, oh, man, I saw this, like, blanket, and I just threw the blanket over top of it, which is such a dick move on my part. But
I'm happy to know that you like related to the video.
That's probably not the usual response people have of that video. But
that video came out of me and my girlfriend. I think we were stoned at the time watching Boiler Room videos, and I watch a good amount of them because I love them.
Yeah, they're so good.
I love the energy and watching them, and I'm like, oh, this one, you know, when you see that one clip of somebody just the entire energy of the room being put in this one little camera view, and the DJ's just going crazy. Everybody's dancing. And I remember thinking, these DJs are so cool. They can do anything and everybody will dance. Mm-hmm. And then that's where that came out of, where they could just start puking on the equipment. And then the best part was...
How did you arrive at marshmallows, though, and like mini marshmallows? Because that's the perfect thing to be puking.
I don't actually know. I think it was more... I think it was more Gwen and I just kind of like looked in our cupboards and thought, like, what can we grab here? And I had like a box of Fruit Loops, some marshmallows, almond milk. You know, pukey stuff. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I almost threw up there just thinking about it. But no, yeah. And then that's where that came from. But my favorite part of that was coming up with that idea. We looked at each other and we were like, let's do this tomorrow. And then I messaged a bunch of friends and they're like, yeah, let's film this. Let's go get together tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And then my friend Bobby had a mixing board that he was like, yeah, you can borrow he just said, like, you can take the mixing board, it's broken. And he's like, what are you going to do with it? And I'm like, I'm going to puke on it. And he went, yeah, you can keep that. That's great. Yeah, that was a really fun one. It was really cool.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, like, did somebody use the mixing board after?
No, it was in my car for about a solid week after that. And then I thought, what am I doing with this thing? I need to get rid of it. It's broken. I left it at a Value Village in Markham. Yeah, so... hopefully someone took it. I think I forgot to wipe it off. So it's probably crust all over that thing. That's
so
great.
You have so many videos on your YouTube channel, but the other one that I want to mention was you do this spoof of the masterclass session. And it's you, yourself, and I don't know the other actor in it, but it's you playing Adam Duritz from Counting Crows, and the other guy plays Rob Thomas.
The other guy is Chris Wilson, who is one of the funniest dudes ever. He's on main stage at Second City.
Okay.
He's the funniest person ever. He's a good buddy of mine, and he. I think I started doing Adam Duritz with another comic, Matt O'Brien, who he lives in LA now. But he would do all these green screen videos with much music, and then he was like, "Hey, do you want to come and do one?" And then we started doing stupid videos, and then we had the idea of doing like an Adam Duritz bargain store commercial, where Adam Duritz sings the bargain commercial, and it was really funny, but I had realized that I could do a pretty good Adam Duritz impression.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Dwayne Gretzky, who is a band here in, like, I guess the best cover band here in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
They put together these solid shows at the Phoenix every year, these like 90s nights, sold out shows, like 2 nights in a row, just thousands of people. And I ended up doing Mr. Jones as Adam Duritz. I walked out there. Nick Rose, who is like a lead guy in the band, is on the mic, and he says, "Yeah, everybody, we have a special guest here all the way from Baltimore, Adam Duritz." And then I walked out and I was dressed like him. I had the dreads and like the leather jacket. We thought, yeah, people would get a kick out of this, and they, I can do a pretty good impression. But we actually had people raising their phones, filming it, and tweeting that Adam Duritz showed up to the Phoenix.
Right.
They were tweeting, and I'm pretty sure the promoter, Bobby, who is, Bobby Kimberly.
I know Bobby.
He got texts saying, like, how did you get Adam Duritz to perform? And I think that's where it started.
I think that in itself is hilarious. Like, Adam Duritz had such a busy schedule. He couldn't possibly come to Toronto to play.
He flew in for the night to do the show. But we thought that was, I don't know, we thought that was the best, funniest thing ever.
Yeah.
And didn't tell anybody that it was me.
It's a pretty great wig. I don't know where you found that wig.
Oh, I still have that wig. Yeah, and I
so
still
good.
would love to do the Adam Duritz impression, but we did it a few more times. We went to the concert after that. Chris and I, he was Rob Thomas. People thought I was him walking around during the day before the concert. It was so funny. And I hung out beside the stage before they went on, and people were walking by asking me for autographs and pictures. And I didn't say I was him, and I didn't say I wasn't him. I just kept saying, "You're gonna have a great time tonight. The show's gonna be a blast. You're gonna have a hoot." And people were loving it. They were all about it. And then I think we made a few more videos out of that. But Alessandra Vite. She's a comedian who was in the Sketchersons. Really, really funny comedian. She wrote the masterclass sketch and then brought it to us and said, "Do you guys want to do this?" And then, we all got together and filmed it. So funny. It was so funny. But I think you can pretty much do anyone with the masterclass format.
Right. Yeah.
I thought about doing a Venom one. I really did. And Lydia Prasad was the one who was like, "You should do a Venom one." And I'm like, I'm thinking about it. And the last few days I've thought about it hard, being like, I really should do it.
But Venom specifically, Tom Hardy playing Venom, that Venom, or just how you...
I don't think I could pull off a Tom Hardy. It would have to be like a chubby Sylvester Stallone doing Venom. But yeah.
Well, you're obviously a big Venom fan. It shows just looking through your social media.
I just love the symbiote world. That's what I'm a big fan of. And I'm getting a lot of flack from comic book fans or Avenger fans saying that, why do I like Venom so much?
Right.
And I think that's why I like it, because nobody's into Venom as much with the movies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, did that backlash come after the movie was released, or was it even before that?
Oh, no, I was so excited about that movie, and people were ripping on the movie already, saying that this movie's going to be terrible. Right. And that kind of made me like it even more. But no, it's more the fact that I was like, this movie's so bad that I'm going to make Venom this, just very cartoony Toronto character.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the, I think I'm actually turning into Venom. Like the idea of the symbiote taking a parasite, taking over your body. I think that's what my Venom costume is doing to me, which Gwen, my girlfriend, hates that, but whatever. Our apartment is just filling with Venom merchandise as we speak. So
I feel like 10 years from now, that might be like a cult classic, because it's one of those movies that's so terrible that there's something enjoyable about watching it. It's just like, Jeff, you haven't seen it yet, have you?
No, I haven't seen it.
There's so many inexplicable scenes in that movie, and you're like, how did this movie get greenlit? Like, it's beyond awful for a major studio to actually approve of this movie, and And for it to do so well at the box office.
Did it do well? I
Yeah.
didn't know.
Oh,
Like-
it was one of the highest grossing superhero movies.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Crazy.
and which gives them even more reason to make Venom versus Carnage, which will be coming out at some point. I think it'll be coming out soon, which
Yeah.
for me, I'm like, okay, well, this gives me some more time with the Venom suit. But yeah, it is truly a really bad movie.
Yeah.
The best line in it is at the end of the movie when Michelle Williams says, she actually looks at Tom Hardy and says, "I'm sorry about Venom." Like this moment, this, heartful moment of them dealing with, Venom fucked up for a little bit, but I guess he's gone now. I'm sorry about Venom. Just like a really, really shitty movie.
Yeah, that's a crazy thing though. You have a $multi-million budget. You have two, Oscar-worthy not performances, but actors, Tom Hardy and Michelle Williams, and yet it's just a stinking pile of shit.
Michelle Williams in a wig, in like
Yeah.
a really bad wig.
Right.
I guess she was like,
And she's awful at it. I love Michelle Williams,
Yeah,
but
she was pretty bad.
She's really bad in that movie. Yeah.
But surprisingly, Tom Hardy kind of saves the movie. His performance, you're like,
It's pretty interesting
he's
to watch.
carrying this ridiculous film
Yeah.
around, and no one knows what's going on. But he's just kind of making the movie
Yeah.
for me. I'm like, okay, I'm still into it because of him. But yeah.
I want to go back to Dwayne Gretzky. How did you guys get involved with that? Like, are you friends with the band? And
I got involved with Dwayne Gretzky. I'm a good friend of theirs who gets invited to sing. I mean, I do sing, but I do more comedy. But I still love singing. Where I've been lucky enough where they've been like, "Hey, do you want to do this? This one song?" And I can go and do it. But I got involved through Robin Hatch, who is an amazing musician who just came out with an album, actually, a solo piano album. You should download it. Robin Hatch, who was in the band at the time, she was the one who kind of put my name in and was like, "Hey, Rod, do you want to do a song during 90s night?" I'm pretty sure. And it was "Livin' La Vida Loca." And
is there a video of that somewhere on
of
YouTube?
that one?
Yeah.
No, there's not.
Okay.
I know there's no video of it because I've probably searched. No, no. She asked me if I wanted to do that. I said sure,
Yeah.
and then that's where it kind of started. Where every year now I kind of get invited, or sometimes I've sent them a message being like, "Hey, nudge, nudge, can I do this one song?"
Right.
And they're the best. They're like such good sports. They're always like, yeah. And if the song doesn't work out, then they're good. They're really polite about it. They'll be like, well, maybe not that one, but how about this one? And I'm like, yeah, you guys know better than me. But
Give me an example of one that they declined.
Oh man, one that they declined. Probably John Cicada, "Just Another Day" is
Great
one
song.
that I
Great song.
I love that song, and I actually sent Tyler Kite, who's one of the leads. I sent him that song, and he was like, "Yeah, let's maybe, but let's see about this other song." And then I think that's where "U2 Beautiful Day"
Okay.
came out of, where I was able to do that one. But yeah, I picked some random songs, but they just they know what sounds cool, and they're so good.
Yeah.
They're just like the tightest band.
Did they
They're so
pitch?
awesome.
Did they pitch Smash Mouth's All Star to you, or did
Yes.
you?
No, they did.
Okay.
They pitched
I mean,
that.
that's a no brainer. Even not having seen any of that on video, I would just think that you would be able to pull that off.
Yeah, and the fact that I got to wear that inflatable suit,
Yeah.
was
What is
was
that
the best
thing?
part. I don't know. I ordered it. I think I ordered it for. I did a show. I do Fog and Lasers, the show at Comedy Bar, every second Wednesday of the month. I do that show, and so I order a bunch of stupid things all the time for that show, like confetti cannons and t-shirt guns, and then one of them was this inflatable suit. I just had it. And they were like, yeah, cool. Okay. Well, I guess if you want to do that, you can wear that suit too. And I thought it was just the greatest idea. What I didn't know was that you basically just don't breathe in that thing. So I was just sweating on stage the whole time. And yeah, it's funny for about a solid minute, but like 4.5 minutes, you're just standing there kind of blowing up in front of everyone.
Right.
It was great. It was really cool. Yeah.
Well, I mean, not to put you on the spot, but if you can do either or both Adam Duritz, maybe Mr. Jones, and All Star, yes or no? You don't have to, but if you could do a quick little...
Oh, wow. You want me to do?
Yeah, absolutely.
Somebody once told me the word. No, I can't do it. I can't do it.
That's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Or Mr. Jones. No, I can't even do it. I've lost it. No,
You got to be in the moment.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I think I gotta.
Maybe the wig has powers.
Round here. Yeah. There you go.
Nice.
A little bit of Adam
job.
Duritz right there. But no, I actually did pitch one song
Yeah.
that did get picked. And it was the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, The Impression That I Get. And that was the song that I was like, yo, that was one of my favorite songs growing up. And then the day I asked if we could do it and they said yes, I was like, this is the coolest day ever. Oh, what a good time.
So, I mean, alt rock, especially 90s alt rock, seems to be a big sort of common thread in your social media and just like in everything. A lot of things we've talked about so far. Let's rewind and talk a little bit about the music that you were listening to when you were younger. Just growing up around the house, what kind of stuff would your parents be playing, for instance?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the music that I do now is basically like that whole nostalgia 90s thing. And a lot of the music that my parents used to play, well, my parents used to play a lot of Mamas and the Papas, and my dad would listen to the Animals, House of the Rising Sun, a lot during. I just remember House of the Rising Sun being played every road trip. The Turtles, Hendrix, and I don't know. I just remember that. And then I look at, or my mom would play the Gypsy Kings a lot in the car, and they were huge in the 80s and 90s, like massive. But then I look at the albums that I bought when I was a kid, and I started actually going through them a while ago, and I had, remember Elastica?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Connection. That was the big song off the album. I'm pretty sure that was the only song off the album, but that one was the big one I think I'm pretty sure that's the first CD I ever bought. And then like I had tapes. My first tapes were Nirvana, Nevermind, Bush,
Bush X.
or Bush X here,
Canada.
yeah, and Silverchair. I was a big fan of like with CDs. Remember Better Than Ezra?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh wow, wow, it looks good. Yeah, and obviously like Weezer, Pinkerton, Blue Album, like those were, I guess, every single teenager had that. And the ones that I'm not embarrassed about it, but it was like these albums that I would buy and just tear apart, like listen to them constantly, were like the Dumb and Dumber soundtrack.
Okay. I had that too for some reason. I don't know why.
I remember
had it.
listening to it so much.
Yeah.
Well, what's the big song on the Dumb and Dumber soundtrack?
The biggest single was the
Peter
Peter Pumpkinhead.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Crash
that's right.
Test Dummies.
That one,
That's
but
right.
all the songs,
But not the dude singing, right? It was the girl who was singing, and that's why I think it was bearable, because
Yeah, he was.
I
guess he was. He was awesome though. He's still awesome. They still play.
Yeah.
But and also it was a cover, which I didn't actually know.
Yeah.
That wasn't actually a. There was that whole album was awesome, and the Jurassic Park soundtrack. I didn't realize how much I listened to it. My parents said that I played it constantly in the car, and I would always play that opening theme song anywhere I went, which now I just think that's the funniest thing ever, where I it truly does make me happy to hear that song. And I guess it's for the nostalgia.
Yeah. Actually, real quick, I have this friend, Jason. Jason, shout out to Jason.
Jason.
He has a thing about that song. He loves this song, but he says there's this one note, specifically one note, that ruins the song for him. And it's like, I can't remember specifically how it goes, but it's like, da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. And then it kind of goes up. It's like, na-na-na-na. Like that, when it goes
Jason,
down,
man. Jason, stop shaming Jurassic Park theme, man. Quit doing that, Jason.
One of the first times that I met Jason, and Jeff, Jason, he mentions this, and I'm like, this guy is so unusual. Like this one note ruins an amazing song for him. Yeah, never got that.
You should all make it your ringtone on your phone so that when he's around, he hears that one note. Sorry, Jason. That was pretty much what I was listening to. I'm trying to remember the other ones. I mean, I didn't really get into. I loved Queen and stuff, and I got into the whole classic rock thing after a little more into high school, and that's what like everyone else was showing me. But when I was a kid in the early 90s, I was actually picking stuff that I, the very first things that I loved. I'm pretty sure I was obsessed with the Gin Blossoms.
Yeah.
I remember loving the Gin Blossoms.
I mean, those guys are fun to do for karaoke.
Yeah.
Right?
It's stuff like that.
Hey, Jealousy is a fun song.
I think my parents really introduced me to like the Commodores, Lionel Richie, like all those sorts of things. So I'm all about that stuff, the Bee Gees, but in 90s specifically, I guess Alanis Morissette, Jagged Little Pill, like stuff like that. Which, by the way, I saw an article.
Jezebel saying that it's not that great of an album, right?
Oh, shut up.
I'm like, shut up. It's a great album.
I don't understand who's writing.
Yeah.
First of all, who's writing
Jezebel
these articles?
Of all these things,
But sitting there and going, I know what I have to talk about.
Yeah.
One of the greatest albums. Like, stop picking apart things that are from like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, leave it alone. It means so much to people.
Right.
And that's the only reson why they're doing it, is just to
for sure
piss people off.
It's like those people that say Forrest Gump isn't very good. And they're like, okay, well, on a certain level, I understand what they're saying. It shouldn't have won best film that year, but it's still a great movie.
Yeah,
it's still very enjoyable.
Soundtrack.
Yeah.
Great soundtrack.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jagged Little Pill is a great album. I don't care. I don't care what that person says.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Did you make at any point like a mixtape or a mix CD for someone, and is there an interesting story that goes along with that?
Oh man, yeah, for sure. I used to make mix CDs. Like I think in grade 8 and 9 is when like CDRs got super popular. And everybody was like, yo, you can make your own CD. And then I would download everything off Napster and like, what was the other one? LimeWire, yeah. And it took like the whole day to download a song. And I would make CDs for myself. And then in grade 9, I had like my high school crush, this girl, Lindsay. And I remember, this is such an embarrassing story, but I'm going to tell it because this is so funny. I remember everybody used to chat on like AOL and everything, MSN and everything. And I remember chatting with her over, I'm pretty sure it was MSN or something like that. It was like late at night, but whatever late was when you were in high school. So it was like 11:45 on a Tuesday and like Tuesday night, and you're sitting in front of your computer chatting away, talking about like your favorite songs. And Matthew Good, that's what it was. I was like, hey, I'll make you a mix CD. Like, what do you like? And then she responded with a bunch of songs, and it was like 3 CDs or 4 CDs worth. And I'm like, okay, cool. And in my head, I'm like, I'm going to be up until 3:30 in the morning making these CDs. But I still did it because I was, this dumb kid. And I remember going to school the next morning and walking up to her locker with the CDs. And she was at her locker and I went, "Hey, Lindsay, what's up? Yo, I made you the CDs you wanted." And she's looking at me being like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I asked you to make CDs?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like with all the songs, like all these songs, Dave Matthews Band, like all these." I'm like, "All these, you wanted all these CDs." And she's like, "Oh my God, no, that was my brother acting like me on my MSN. He totally
Nice.
tricked you."
Yeah.
And her brother was just this like older dude who clearly, but looking back on it, I'm like, "Oh, good goof."
Yeah.
Good goof on me. But
heartbreaking.
Obviously, I was
Heartbreaking.
crushed at the
Yeah.
time. I'm sure that I went to the cafeteria and like sulked for a while. I was a big sulker. But I just remember that story right now. I've been thinking about it for the last 20 years. No, but
Have you seen Lindsay since?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I did whatever. She's doing well. I'm pretty sure she's great.
But the more important question is, how's her brother doing?
Oh, I follow him. No,
That guy rules. I'm sorry. I mean, that's
funny.
That's such a mean thing to
That's
do, but
very
it's awesome.
mean and
It's so
very
good.
funny.
Yeah.
Looking back on it, I was like, "Oh man, that's a great story." But that was one time where I made like 4 CDs in a night.
Yeah.
And that was some labor.
So is it true that your first casting call was for the Super Dave Osborne show?
Oh yeah, in Markham, because Super Dave. I don't know if all the Super Daves, but I know that a good amount of like the in studio stuff was filmed at Markham Theater, which is where I'm from. Like I grew up there, and I remember one day my mom. I think I was like 7 years old, but my mom taking me to one of the casting calls, and it was a bunch of kids in like the big theater rehearsal space, and then I just remember being in this like lineup and Super Dave Osborne walks in and they're telling us like, "Get excited. Like you see Super Dave Osborne." And I'm like, "Oh my God, like I see this guy on TV all the time. This is so cool." And then he calls me over and I sit there and I'm basically right beside him and the camera's on me and he's interviewing me and he says, "What's your favorite stunt?" And I'm pretty sure I remember someone had told me what my favorite stunt was, because I didn't know the names. And then somebody said, "Your favorite stunt," like an AD or somebody was like, "Your favorite stunt is called library, whatever." And I was like, "It's library, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like 7 years old, like super just, I'm pretty sure I had like huge buck teeth and just like sitting there terrified with like a huge light in my eyes. I remember meeting him and I remember his voice being so raspy. Mm-hmm. And just this like giant, he was a giant when I first met him with this massive white suit with stars on it. And he was just this like, just a fun energy to be around. And all the kids were having a great time. I remember leaving pretty happy that day. Like they had made sure that all the kids felt, good about what they did and all this stuff. So it was really fun. And also, I'm pretty sure like the rest of that summer as a kid, I remember a bunch of other kids in my school going, "You were on Super Dave. That's like the coolest thing." And I loved it, but I've never seen it. I've never actually seen it. So I'm still to this day looking for that episode of Super Dave. I've tried to look for like downloads of seasons, but I can't find them. And I don't know how to get the full collection of Super Dave.
There's no like DVD box set or anything?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've been trying to look for it, but all I've only found like compilations of the best of Super Dave. I haven't been able to find anything of the entire collection. So if anybody out there knows where I can find the entire series collection of Super Dave, please get at me, or just rip a clip of it and send it to me, please. But yeah.
So Rodrigo, that's almost time for us. But in keeping with the whole '90s alt rock, if you can give us your top 5 alt rock songs.
Top 5 alt rock songs.
Yes.
Oh wow, cool. Top 5 alt rock songs.
And like specifically '90s. Could be early 2000s. But,
oof, you know what? What was it? Take a picture, take your picture, filter.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. I'm gonna go with another Filter song. Where do we go? What is it? Where do we go from here? Is that it? That's another one too.
You've named two Filter songs that I don't think of right away. I think of "Hey Man, Nice Shot." Right, that's like my go-to.
Hey Man, No Shot. That's a good one too. But it
sounds familiar.
Specifically, this one Filter song, "Where Do We Go From Here?" But there was a remix done of it by the Executioners.
Oh, okay, like the hip hop DJ crew. Yeah,
that I was obsessed with.
Okay,
and then. What does that count as alt rock?
Yeah,
like
sure.
an alt rock remix.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, that was. I guess I'm a Filterhead.
Yeah, I mean, if you're naming 2 out of the top 5, you could pick anyone, right?
Yeah, I know.
You could also name 3 more Filter songs.
Yeah, just
no,
keep
I'll move on. Space Hog in the meantime.
Yes,
Yeah.
I would absolutely put that in my top 5.
Oh yeah.
Great song.
I mean, does Mighty Mighty Boss Tones fall into alt rock?
Yeah.
They were a big alt rock ska sort of thing. So, the impression that I get was probably one of my favorite songs.
Okay.
And let's go with one more. Oh man, I don't know. I'm just gonna go with Weezer, "The Good Life," because that was actually a really good one for me.
Yeah.
That was a great song. Or Weezer Holiday, that was a really good song too. But
Yeah.
all these. Yeah, those were a pretty alternative. I mean, it was kind of like that emo rock
Yeah.
sort of thing. But no, yeah, alternative. Or Bush X
Yeah.
with Machine Head.
Okay.
That was a pretty big one. Ooh, yeah. That one's great. Oh, yeah, we'll go with that.
Do you want to eliminate one of the 2 Filter songs?
Yeah, let's no. Keep the Filter songs.
Okay.
Let's eliminate the Weezer.
Just wanted to be sure.
And yeah, no, let's get rid of that Weezer over there and keep those Filter songs.
Okay.
If you're tagging me or something in this, could you start it off with Filterhead, known Filterhead, Rodrigo Fernandez-Stoll? That would be great.
We will do that. A comedian, actor, Filterhead.
Right on.
Yeah. So where can people catch you, Rodrigo, other than sometimes on Kim's Convenience and Baroness Vaughn sketch show? Where can they catch you live?
I would say I'm on a show that's on CBC and Netflix everywhere else other than Canada called Northern Rescue, which stars Billy Baldwin. It's a really cool show, family show. If anybody has a family that they like to watch TV with, it's about a search and rescue team up north in northern Ontario-ish area called, I'm pretty sure it's called Turtle Bay. Northern Rescue. And you can go to my website, watch all my videos, rodontheinternet.com, or go to Instagram and see my stuff there, Rod on the Internet. I also run a show every second Wednesday of the month called Fog and Lasers. And I also have a Fog and Lasers music album coming out, which is like a musical comedy album. Funny enough, you should be talking about all these 90s things. And that's kind of the inspiration behind this album is there's a lot of like 90s inspired music. I got some like cool, like grungy metal in there. I got some 90s-esque Lionel Richie in there. I got some like really powerful Bryan Adams-y rock in there. So,
But all originals?
Yeah, all originals.
Wow. Okay.
Got a little bit of some. It's mostly all based around comedy, but you know, I'll let you be the judge of that. I just wanted to make a nice album that really focused on collaborating with a bunch of different musicians in the city, a bunch of different comedians in the city too. But on the album, I have a bunch of songs on there that I did with because I'm mostly a singer. So for me, I was like, oh man, I wanna write songs with people, but I don't really write music. So I'm gonna get the best musicians to come out and write these songs with me. So I wrote songs with, I have a bunch of Dwayne Gretzky people on there, like Tyler Kite and Lydia Prasad and And the rest of the au pairs, like Jill and Meg, like they're on there. I do a song with them specifically too. I have Morgan Waters from Weaves. I have Jay McCarroll and Steph McCarroll from Brave Shores. Steph is in Bart now. Marty Tops. Tons of people singing on the album. Gwen, my girlfriend Gwen Phillips, she's singing on the song that I did with Marty Tops on. Everybody. And my main producer of the album, Gavin Whalehan, is a friend of the show. Is a friend of the show, and he is my he's the executive producer of the album. Nice. He's pretty much overseeing everything and making sure everything sounds really crisp.
Awesome.
So I'm really happy and excited about that. And the Fog and Lasers album will be out on iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, everything. It'll be out at the end of May. We still haven't really picked a specific date. But I'm really stoked to release it because it's so dumb and so much fun. And once people hear it, I just want them to go, "What? What is this?"
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Right on.
Well, thanks for being on the show, Rodrigo.
Thank you for having me. You guys are awesome. This is so cool. This is like the nicest night ever right now. It's just like a nice calm night.
You know what would take it to the next level? We'll throw on some filter after this.
Oh, buddy.
I'm sorry.
No,
just have to throw it in
you
there.
You have to finish this with a filter song.
We will.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Done.
Thanks.
Thank you.
To celebrate the 30th anniversary of The Cure's seminal album, Disintegration, Justin will talk about how the album's significance and how it triggers a specific memory from his past.
On May 2nd, 1989, The Cure released their 8th studio album, Disintegration. Prior to recording the album, then 29-year-old frontman and principal songwriter Robert Smith had grown uncomfortable with the effects of fame and retreated to West London with his fiancée. He was regularly taking LSD to offset his depression and became fixated on the idea that most great rock and roll bands delivered their masterpiece by the time they turned 30. As a result, he set to write the most intense thing The Cure have ever done without his bandmates. To add to this mounting pressure, the band had fired founding member Lowell Tolhurst after his increasing alcoholism began to cause internal strife. Despite these less than ideal conditions, Smith and Company would go on to record what is widely regarded as The Cure's best album and certainly one of my favorite albums of all time. Whenever I'm alone with you, you make me feel like I am home again. Throughout their 43-year career, 8 of The Cure's 13 studio albums have been released during the time frame of late March to mid-May. This could be a coincidence, but it strikes me as a fitting one because I always felt that The Cure was a soundtrack of spring. To the average listener, they probably seem all doom and gloom, a handful of vitamin C deficient post-punk goth rockers that whine just as much as they brood. But to devoted fans like myself, they represent a romantic, melancholy-soaked honesty that is often a rarity in pop music. Whenever I'm alone with you, you make me feel like I am whole again. I've seen The Cure a couple of times over the last 15 years, including their headline performances at their Curiosa tour in 2004 and Festival 2016. I love that exact moment at a concert when you realize how obsessed you are with the band. You find yourself completely moved and engaged, where the visceral experience takes you from casual listener to full-blown fan status. And maybe you're initially embarrassed because at your age, it's not cool to express enthusiasm unless it's done with a calculated sense of irony. But then you immediately shrug it off. After all, pretending to be cool all the time is fucking exhausting. It's time to just be human and allow yourself to feel something. Whenever I'm alone with you, you make me feel I am young again. I suppose this transformative experience is similar to falling in love with someone. I can recall the exact moment when I realized I was in love for the first time. It was February 2004, a week before Valentine's Day, and we had been dating for nearly 4 months. It was the first relationship where I felt like I could truly be myself without fear of judgment. We had a strong connection, shared similar interests and hobbies, but most importantly, we laughed together. Whenever I'm alone with you, you make me feel like I am fun again. That evening, we had just gotten back to her condo building after a late night dinner. Once we had parked in the underground lot. I told her there was something important I needed to say. Something so important, it couldn't wait until we got upstairs. We sat in the car with the engine turned off while The Cure's love song played faintly on the stereo. It sounds trite now, but the lyrics of that song had never resonated with me more than they did in that moment. However far away, I will always love you. However long I stay, I will always love you. Whatever words I say, I will always love you. I took a deep breath and whispered the same 3 words I had sung along to in countless number of pop songs, only this time, the words felt like another language, as though I was saying them for the first time. I will always love you. I will always love you, 'cause I love you.
You've been listening to Season 3, Episode 9 of This Broken Mixtape with the multi-talented Rodrigo Fernandez-Stoll. If you haven't already, visit thisbrokenmixtape.com to check out this episode's Spotify playlist. There you'll also find all of our past interviews and custom illustrations for each show. If you enjoyed this episode, please take the time to subscribe, rate, and share our podcast however you're tuning into us today. Also, if you have any comments, feedback, or ideas for guests, feel free to drop us a line through our website, Instagram, or Twitter. You can find all our episodes on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, and Spotify. As always, thank you for listening. We really appreciate it. Cheers.